welcome to Seismic Cinema. Today we are doing Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Unfortunately, we're not having a wee witty intro because Colin is missing for this one, which means this episode is probably going to be a roaring success. Every time Colin's off it, we have an absolute filter. I don't know, I don't like to brag, but me and James had one of our most successful episodes on Big Trouble in Little China with Colin missing. So we're hoping for another one. So I think it's pretty obvious that Colin is the weak link in this. Anyway, how are you doing, James? How are you doing? I don't want you feeling left out there.
I'm good, mate. Thanks for asking. I do like it when people are asking me how I am, instead of just glossing over it. Aye, good. You doing all right?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic. It's great when there's two people here that are looking out for each other, unlike that selfish bugger Colin. And if anyone's wondering what we're talking about, that is from Seismic Soccer number 5, which released last week, where Colin just has the manners of a raccoon. So, yes, we are doing Terminator 2 Judgment Day, like I said. This was my pick, so unfortunately I'm the one hosting this one, so it's probably going to be an absolute dumpster fire, as per usual. I've been pretty excited in the chat when I brought it up. What was your initial reaction when we were going to do this?
No, see, when you said it, John, when we were planning for these things, the thought of Terminator 2 didn't even, I had to say that, and it didn't come out of my head, but when you said it, I was like, yes. I'm not going to tell you much about what I'm going to give it or anything, but it is up there for me, for sure. I don't know why I've not thought about it before now, to be honest with you, but it is a classic film. So I'm quite glad you brought it up, mate, because I've been, ever since we've said this, we're going to do this review, I have been ready to go for it.
No, I think, see, when we did a wee planning meeting a few months back, and James picked Predator, which done really well, and that kind of got me thinking, Arnie movies. And there's actually so many Arnie movies that we can do, and I really think we should do an Arnie month, because we're talking about the Running Man and all that kind of stuff. These are all films that I was brought up on, and I was like, we need to do this. So Terminator 2 Judgment Day, I watched it last night on the digital remastered version. I had to stump up £6 to buy it, unfortunately. And I think you said you got the DVD, James, don't you? With all the fancy bits and pieces.
Aye, so I've got that, mate. So I had I'm not one to go and listen to the commentary and things of films. I don't think I've ever done that before, but it's got obviously remastered, and it's got the deleted scenes and whatever on it. Do you know what I mean? So aye, so that was good. I had that for ages, but it's been I've not watched a DVD for ages, mate, to be honest with you. Just been on streaming things and on the Netflix and all that malarkey. But for this film, I thought I'm going to grab the DVD and watch it. So, aye.
So what was your initial history with Terminator? Because I don't mind saying it, you're slightly older than me, so I don't know if you maybe seen this in the cinemas or not. This came out in '91, so I was just born, so I wouldn't know. But how did you get on with it? When was the first time you seen it, or what was your history with it?
When this film came out in '91, I was only 6, mate, so I was no danger. I was into the cinema with it, so I'm not that old.
Sneak in a wee bit of stubble, no?
No, I don't even know if I've got stubble now, to be honest with you. No, I wasn't introduced to Terminator for a long time. I would say maybe I was about, don't know, 10 or 12 or something before I even watched, and I probably watched this film first. So I didn't watch it in the correct order, probably. So I've probably seen this film first, and I was blown away by it. So then I went back. The history of me when I watched it, I'm sure it's about that age. Can't remember now off the top of my head, but I wasn't late to it anyway. And probably when I should have been watching these films. And I went back and watched Terminator 1, which I thought was amazing as well. But Terminator 2 for me, and I don't mind putting my cards on the table with this one just now, actually. It's probably one of the best sequels of all time. It probably was my favourite sequel of all time, but something recently, well, quite recent, pipped it, and I'll come on to that later on, what that is. But for me, Terminator 1 and 2 are the Terminator films. The ones thereafter, I'm not a big fan of, to be honest with you. I did see Terminator 3 in the pictures, in the cinema. I wasn't overly keen on it, to be honest with you. And then I've not seen the latest one, Dark Fate, I think it's called, isn't it? So I've not seen the latest one, and it was James Cameron that did that one as well, and reprising characters from Judgment Day, which was meant to be the follow-on from this film. So I just haven't watched it just because the ones before Dark Fate kind of let it down. So Judgment Day is the last Terminator for me.
Yeah, no, I kind of completely agree with you pretty much on everything. And similar to you, I seen Terminator 2 first before I seen Terminator. I think Terminator was always kind of been seen to be a bit darker than Terminator 2. Like Terminator 2 has its bits and pieces, bits and moments where it does evoke a bit of a kind of like, you know, kind of nuclear hysteria and stuff like that. But I think Terminator, the first one, was a wee bit darker just because it was more murder, cold-blooded kind of way.
Aye, I know what you mean, mate. So it was Terminator 1 was quite dark in that respect. Terminator 2, and I don't think I've ever seen Terminator 1 on the telly.
No, that's the thing.
You know what I mean?
Terminator 2 was always on ITV4 or ITV2.
It's never been on the telly. I've never seen it. Probably has. That just never caught my eye whenever I was channel hopping or whatever. Do you know what I mean? But Terminator 2 always seemed to be on the television on some channel, whatever. So probably the reason why I did see this film first, to be honest with you.
Actually, the first thing that got me hooked into it was, do you remember the shows on TV where it used to be, like, you used to be able to see stunts? Like, it used to show you stunts from movies, like, kind of behind the scenes, and they kind of explain it, and then it'd show you wee bits of the movie, just as a kind of wee teaser. That's where I first seen it. It was the highway chase.
Uh-huh.
You know, the highway chase, the storm drain chase.
Yeah.
It took it all and showed you the stunts and how it got done, and I was like, oh, this seems pretty cool. And I ended up seeing it not long after, I don't think, but like you, I seen it way too young, and I thought it was like the best thing ever. And like Robert Patrick was like my favourite character. I loved him in this.
Robert Patrick in this film is phenomenal. Like, I think for me, my favourite character as well. But we're going to, well, say, I don't know what you've got planned for when I talk about Paul, but certainly if characters do come up, then I think we're in agreement with that one.
So that's our kind of initial history with it. We're just going to do a bit free flowing, but kind of maybe talk about the main scenes, and maybe a bit about the time travel as well, because I get very confused by this time travel. I may as well just talk about it now, actually, because what's in my head is I get very confused with the time travel in this. Is it like a fixed loop, or like did they ever change anything? Because it feels like like they're always turning out Terminator movies because, oh, we need to stop such and such from happening, and then they stop it, but then it still ends up happening. And I feel like if they just stopped at Terminator 2, that'd have been a good ending. Like, I'd have been happy with that. But then it feels like the sequels cheapen the events of Terminator 2 because it didn't really stop the events from happening. They just kind of delayed it a wee bit. You know what I mean?
Aye. I mean, I'm not an expert in time travel, even though I do watch a lot of Doctor Who and whatever things like that. But I know what you mean, because the time travel element of it, John sends Terminator back to protect him. That's the whole plot of the film, is to be protected from the T-1000 played by Robert Patrick, and then it all comes to they're going to stop Judgment Day, this day where it's the end of days, if you like, and they all take steps in order to do that. So they go to Miles Dyson's. He's the the creator of Cyberdyne Industries Systems. Can't remember now.
Systems.
Systems. So he obviously, I don't go into that scene later on, but he obviously finds out that, you know, that he's responsible for this. It's what's going to happen in the future. And they come to, we want to destroy everything that you've worked on, and so we can stop. There's no traces of this happening. So they go and do that. They destroy all that stuff. Arnie destroys himself at the end, which will come on to as well. But that's again self-sacrifice on his part, so that there's nothing can be traced back to, you know, the machines. So they stop it from happening, and the film ends. That's it. Going with a time travel point of view, did something happen again in the future? As the Doctor once said, I'm going to be a Doctor Who fan here. The Doctor once said, "Time is not linear; it is timey-wimey." Right. So something must have happened. There must have been some sort of pothole somewhere that it still continued to happen somewhere down the line for another of these films after this to then to happen against James Cameron's wishes, of course. I can't speak for. I don't know if you've seen the last one, Paul. So I can't comment on that and how that played out or even how it got to that part. But
it's not Skynet. It's something else. It's called Legion or something. It's called now.
Right. So I don't know, man. So I'm like you, mate. It's confusing. It's confusing as hell. I don't know. I like the idea of time travel. Don't get me wrong. But I just think it's, if they stop Judgment Day, then that's the end of the films. You know what I mean? We can all live happily ever after, so to speak. But I don't know, man. It is one of the things that whenever I speak to people about it is one thing that they don't understand, they can't grasp. But there's loads of films out there that don't have time travel correct either. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know if anybody's got a proper understanding of time travel, to be honest with you.
Aye, no. I just, because I was watching it and I was thinking, like, how does this work again? Like, so has this already happened? And did the future John Connor already get a Terminator before, and he knows he has to do this again to protect himself or something? And then my mind scrambled. But anyway, that's beyond the point. So we'll just go back to the start then. So, obviously we get Arnie reprising his role as a Terminator, but in this one he is the good guy, which I think is quite a clever use of him to bring him back as the good guy rather than just have him being the bad guy, because it could have been easy just to, like, when the fans love Terminator, we can just bring him back again and have him chase Linda Hamilton's character again. But obviously, because we didn't see it, we seen this first, we didn't know he was the bad guy in the first one.
Aye.
Which I kind of wish I'd known about. I wish I'd seen the first one first, if you know what I mean, so that it could have been like, oh, you know, what's happening here.
But what I did like about this film, though, and it's quite, I mean, I know obviously now that Arnold Schwarzenegger Terminator was the bad guy in the first film, you still don't know with the opening scene this film that he's a good guy. You don't know, because what you see is the T-800 coming back from the future, and you know he goes into the, what do they call it, the
biker bar.
The bar. That's the biker bar. I couldn't think of the name there. The biker bar. He does what he does there. We'll come on to that scene later on. But then, as that happens, you can see the T-1000 coming back, and he takes the role of the police officer, because that's who he sees first. You don't know who is the bad guy, because neither of them actually kill. If you think about it as well, you don't know whether or not the T-1000 kills that police officer.
Aye, it's more like a punch to the gut, isn't it?
Aye, and you don't know, but at that point that he's able to change his body to stabbing weapons, so he might have killed that police officer. We don't know. So as these scenes kind of move on, they're both looking for John Connor. Arnold Schwarzenegger doesn't talk. well, very minimal, as opposed to Robert Patrick's character, the T-1000, who seems more approachable. He's talking to kids. He's gone to John Connor's his door. He's asking. He's at that point. You don't see the good guy. Like he's actually looking for him, but you don't know. So it's still up in the air. Where at that point, who is obviously if you read up on it before you watched the film, then you would have known. But if you didn't know, you wouldn't have realised until they get to the bit where in the mall, is it the mall, isn't it? And then you get the two of them come to a head, and John's in the middle of it, and then Arnold Schwarzenegger goes, "Get down," and that's when you know that he's protecting John Connor at that point, and he was the bad guy, which I found quite a good wee twist. I don't know what you thought of that.
Because up to that point, like Robert Patrick obviously looks like a cop, so you're kind of thinking cops are usually good guys, and in the bar fight, Arnie's like stabbing people and breaking bones and that kind of stuff, and so you're thinking maybe. So that's a good point, actually. I like that. I like that take.
So that was I find it quite interesting that, but I don't know if I answered your question right enough, but
I can't remember what the question was.
Oh, good.
But yeah, so you get the mall fight, and then that leads on to the storm drain chase, which is still iconic to this day. You don't really see many kind of stunts like that now on that kind of big scale. I think the bit always just comes to my mind is the truck just flying off the bridge. That's always the bit for me, because he's just on his bike and he looks up and he's like, "Oh, I'm away, I'm fine," and then he just looks up and sees this truck barreling off the bridge into the storm drain, and the music as well, because like the T-1000 has his own like wee theme. It follows him everywhere, and it's just like ominous. I love that as well.
The score behind the whole film's brilliant, mate, to be honest with you. Especially when it comes to the Terminators have got their own kind of score behind them. But that scene, the storm drain chase, the truck coming off the bridge, and then you get the bike as well. So Arnold Schwarzenegger on the bike, just kind of following him, and the way you reloading the shotgun with the one arm, and it's going.
It's very Call of Duty-esque.
So that was good, man. And then the bike coming off as well into the drain. You know what I mean? So that's quite good. That was all done. I looked that up as well. That was all. That was all done, real as well. So I thought the whole thing was. The first scene I wrote down, mate, to be honest with you, is my favourite scenes. Was that scene. And what you've said, the bike come off the side, the truck come off the bridge, and then as well when the truck kind of, obviously the truck's bigger than the bridges in there. The top comes off it, and then you look around again, and then Robert Patrick just comes up like that. You can see him when I gets that music behind him. It's just relentless. That you can see that he's got one purpose, and it's just to get John Connor and to kill him, essentially.
Aye. The only thing it got me see, because I started doing like podcasting, and you see things that you'd never probably see if you're just sitting watching and enjoying it.
No.
So, when the truck crashes eventually, you just see like a crash test dummy flopping about in the driver's seat. It's just, you can just play on the seat as a dummy. Just
the whole scene come to a head with the explosion like that as well was brilliant. And it's like, oh, he's dead now. But you don't know. Obviously, it's a Terminator, obviously, but you just don't know if it's the same kind of Terminator I've seen the first one. And then we find out just after that scene that he's an upgrade to Arnold Schwarzenegger's Terminator, who was reprogrammed to come back. And so John Connor reprogrammed Arnold Schwarzenegger to come back and save him. And the T-1000 is made up of a liquid metal.
I know. I was going to try and remember. I can't remember. It's something, a poly something alloy.
Polymer alloy or something like that. I can't remember.
Aye.
Liquid metal.
Liquid metal. Yeah. But by the way, the effects for still hold up, I'd say.
Oh, without a doubt, mate. Like, I've watched it twice for this, and I'm like, this film still holds up. I mean, there's 1981, so I think there's some questionable bits in it, to be honest with you, but I still think the majority of the film holds up.
Yeah. But the only thing I thought was a wee bit iffy was, you know, you kind of get the wee electrical sparks from the time bubble and the time bubble itself. I thought that was a wee bit iffy looking, but other than that, like, everything looks great. Like Robert Patrick when he goes metal, when he's shifting about, like the practical effects when he gets frozen and shatters into pieces by the, what's it called, the liquid nitrogen, stuff like
Aye.
that. But yeah, it holds up, and like the pyrotechnics and stuff as well, the practical effects of that. But we'll get to that scene because I feel like that's an important scene to get to as well. Other bits I was quite liked is like when like they're bonding and stuff, and then they go, it's like, oh, we need to warn my foster parents. And they go to the payphone, and the mum, because we've seen the foster mum and dad, and they're a bit kind of, you know, arsey. And then the foster mum's like being really nice on the phone. She's like, well, and John's been like, this is weird. She's been really nice to me. And he picks up the phone and speaks in his voice, and I was like, whoa, this is weird.
Aye, it was weird, man. Like I say, when I first seen it, I was like, wait a minute, he's actually talking to John Connor. And I like the way that they obviously tricked the Terminator as well, because he asked him what the dog's name was. What's the dog's name? And it's like, he said it was Max. And hey, what's wrong with Wolfie? And then you obviously find out that she doesn't know the dog. The Terminator doesn't know the dog's name, so that's how they fill the Terminator.
Wolfie's doing fine, darling. When you coming home? Where are you?
They're both dead. So I like that scene. Like, I picked it out though that he was just kind of just took the phone and started speaking to John Connor. Do you know what I mean? So it was a good scene though. I quite enjoyed that bit. And then later on, as she, I think this is only, I don't remember this being in the actual original film when I seen it, but Terminator, the T-1000, I should say, goes to the dog and unfortunately, you know, kills the dog, which I will never forgive him for.
Does he? When's that?
So yes, this is I don't think you've seen this. This is
this a deleted scene.
Aye. So he goes over and kills the dog, and looks at the collar, and the collar says Max, and that's when he realizes that he, you know, obviously that was the dog's name was Max. He goes back into the house again. And he's in John's room, and he's kind of looking around, and then he finds like he's got a poster, takes the poster off, and there's like a kind of cubby hole full of stuff, and it's like letters for his mum. And then that's when he finds out that the mum's held in the psycho, you call it psychiatric ward. So that's when I think that's his next protocol to go and get her, Sarah Connor. Because before that scene existed, it was always like John's like, well, why don't we go and get my mum? She needs to know, kind of thing. And he's like, negative. The T-1000's got all files stored on you, on you, and on Sarah Connor. That he'll go there. And so I found that a bit confusing, to be honest with you, or maybe he was always going to go there. I don't know, but he certainly in that scene that you seen, well, I seen you didn't see, was that he seen the letters and the pictures and whatever it was, and then he went thereafter to save Sarah Connor. So
the one I watched, he just kind of shows up, but I actually assumed he was using his police computer because that's how he found John.
Aye, well, that's a good point as well. I don't know. This is also one you might not have seen. See in Sarah Connor's kind of cell. She has obviously these dream sequences. There's a dream sequence in the cell where you get Kyle Reese from the first Terminator.
Okay.
So John Connor's father, and he's basically telling her that the Judgment Day's happening, and John's a saviour and all this sort of stuff. You got to protect John at all costs.
Is that like a flashback from the first one?
It's like a dream sequence. So it's not it's a dream sequence, it's not a flashback. So and then
But I mean, is it footage from the first movie, or is it something they filmed for this movie?
something for this film.
Oh, was it? All right, okay. So Michael Biehn just never got a look in.
No, so but I've seen it when I watched it again. I don't remember this. So so another scene, and there may be other ones that I've not noted down, but I just thought I'd find that in there.
No. Well, because you're talking about the dream sequences now, I can probably just talk about Linda Hamilton's kind of role in all this, because obviously in the first Terminator, she's just like a kind of a damsel in distress, the one that must be protected. So everything's, and she's just freaking out because she doesn't know what's going on. And in this one, she's just a totally different character. She's the equivalent of a badass, basically. And she has quite a good history. Like, I think John kind of tells it, like she was running guns and stuff and learning all types of military tactics from anyone she could find to pass on to John to prepare him for this future war. I quite liked how her story was going on at the same time as John's through the movie, like her in the hospital as well as him on the run from the Terminator, for him to meet up in the movie.
Aye, absolutely. Linda Hamilton's character, Sarah Connor, who's you see that she's obviously been preparing for this stage. You know what I mean? This ever since she had met the Terminator. And it was 89. Was it released 87? I remember now. And then from that day, she's obviously, like you're talking about, military tactics, and she's gun running and all that sort of thing, because she knows this day's going to happen. And then even when you look at her in the hospital, she's like doing chin ups, and she's like keeping herself fit and all that. So she's been preparing. So she looks a lot more chiseled. So I mean, so she looks like as if she's ready for battle. And her timeline for the film, running along kind of parallel to John's, to then come to the same end to they meet each other. I did like Linda Hamilton's character. I thought there is some sketchy parts after we do save Sarah Connor, and we'll come on to that maybe, because there's a bit of this film that I don't like, but we'll come on to that. So so I did like you, mate. I enjoyed the Linda Hamilton playing Sarah Connor. I think she was important to the film.
Yeah, and it was a good escape sequence as well. Is it just me, or is it a prerequisite in movies if you're an orderly of some sort of facility, you have to be an absolute scumbag? Is it?
I know,
it just seems to be, doesn't it?
I know.
The guy licks her face.
Oh, that was that was horrible. That bit. Do you know what I mean?
He gets his comeuppance.
Aye. So
she ends up braining him with a broken mop handle, doesn't she?
Aye. So I think orderlies. Just trying to think of a film now that orderlies aren't. As you call them, scumbags. I don't know if Shutter Island had any scumbags in it. They're all orderlies.
They were all well-paid actors, weren't they?
Well, that's true. That's true. So
I think you've seen Deadpool 2.
I have. Aye.
The orderlies in the asylum for the wee kids and all that, and they're like got shotguns and stuff, and it's like, yeah, they're bad.
That's right. It's true, man.
And then is it the doctor as well, the psychiatrist? Is he from the first one?
He's in the first one as well. So I remember a quote from the first one. He's because with Sarah and Kyle, and it's like, I can make a lot of money from this, or he says something, I can make a lot of money from this, or I can get far in a job or something like that, he says. And then next film, he's like the head kind of psychiatrist or something, like whatever his job role is. So he's obviously progressed in his job just because of the nature of Sarah Connor. Do you know what I mean? Because she's obviously not in a good place, and he seems to be benefiting from that. Do you know what I mean? So that's kind of, he was from the first one as well. But the whole the whole scene where they break out the hospital was brilliant, man, as well. It's these action-packed scenes. You're always left in suspense, man. You're like, oh, what's going to happen next? And then it's just every scene you see, it's the relentlessness of the T-1000. what I
Aye,
mean?
because he I forgot he sneaks in, didn't he? Because he's using his police privilege to just get in anywhere he wants.
Aye.
I think because you obviously seen liquid metal like this before, but then this is the first time you see him blend into the floor into it.
Did he blend? Ah, right. Aye. To kill with the guards. They say to the guard, and it's like does that with his finger, pokes him right in the eye. He's at the vending machine.
Aye. Because at first I was like, that's really weird. Like, how is he him? Then I was like, oh yeah, because he stepped on him when he was liquid on the floor. But it's weird that they do it like once and then they never really use it again. If he can like blend into things, why can't he blend into more things and like hide rather than be front and center at everything?
I thought when I quote on Schwarzenegger for I think it was Total Recall. If I'm not me, then who the hell am I? No, that's another criticism of this film. I think that no matter, I don't. There might be an answer to this. I don't know. After he kind of morphs, into different people, he always reverts back to the Robert Patrick character. So that's the first character you've seen. So was that the face and the body that he was, I don't know, assigned to at the start, and he has to always refer back to that.
Like a kind of default setting kind of thing.
Because John Connor and they're selling Schwarzenegger know what T-1000 looks like initially.
Mm-hmm.
So what's to say that he can just into some random person and then just kind of sneak up on them or something. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know if that's a criticism of the film or not, or just maybe a plot hole. I'm not sure. But
I did see some people saying that he was using it because like the police uniform and that was already on its skin or whatever, and so you're using that throughout the film to get access to a lot of places you need to get access to without any questions or any resistance kind of thing. But like you're saying, like you could have morphed into any of the policemen that he'd come in contact with, like the biker cop or some of the other cops at other different scenes. But I think maybe he just thought, I don't know, I feel like I'm just making excuses now, but like because they'd seen him in a cop uniform before, I think they must have thought there's no point in morphing into another cop because they'll just be looking out for somebody like a cop.
well, he does say when he's like, you need to get out of town, out of the city, and avoid the authorities because I think he's got that wee computer in his car. He can look him up, do you know what I mean, and all that. So he's got that. He's got the police have got the power. Do you know what I mean? So if he wants to find John, he will find John, being a police officer. So
He can get into the networks easy.
Aye, exactly, man. I've noted in here, but the kind of saving Sarah Connor. The way he walks through the bars as well. The door, and it's all because she locks the doors. She stamps the key in the door so that they can go and get her. But he can just walk through the bars because they're made of metal. And that's when you see the gun click. The gun won't move through, which is a good bit of the scene as well. I've always noted as well. It doesn't matter how slow Robert Patrick moves. He always seems to kind of catch up on them. It's like I kind of linked it to when I watched it. Wee bit of a tangent here. Halloween. So see when Michael Myers is like walking towards Jamie Lee Curtis or whoever going to kill, he could walk and they could be running as fast as they can, and he would still only be like so close to them. I kind of fit along that kind of corridor in the hospital. It kind of felt that way to me.
He cuts corners.
Suppose,
you don't see him.
I
See when
suppose,
he's on camera, he's like, run away.
but I suppose Robert Patrick was a Olympic gold medalist in running, wasn't he? So,
was he? I didn't know
no,
that.
no, I'm joking. He wasn't. No, but
All right then.
we're coming for the first scene when he chased that bike down, but he could have been.
Was that not a thing as well that he tried to perfect running without breathing through his mouth, so that it didn't look as if he was ever tired, as if he was just like a machine running? That's some going.
Running like Tom Cruise.
Before Tom Cruise, he invented
that's true.
He invented the Tom Cruise and he invented the what's the thing? You ever seen Jenna Ortega in Wednesday? Like when she looks down and she's just like all eyebrows.
Oh,
Like that's what Robert Patrick's like. He perfected that look. They just kind of menacing, kind of head down, eyes up look.
no, I know what you mean.
And it's quite good because his head's always on a swivel too. Like when he's like anywhere, he's like as if he's scanning for everything. Whereas Arnie's just like laser focused. That you can tell he's more of an older machine, if you know what I mean. He's just very purposeful.
He's obsolete now. Arnold Schwarzenegger's Terminator, so he's like probably the last of its kind.
Yeah. We never even talked about the first scene with the actual future war.
I know, that was good, man. I've actually got that written down. Actually, the first scene, I open scene, a dystopian future with robots killing, future war. The music as well was that kind of T1000 music. So, that was good.
That's the movie I wish Terminator Salvation was. I actually didn't. Have you seen Terminator Salvation?
Aye.
With Christian Bale. Aye. I didn't actually mind it, but I wanted it to be more futuristic rather than because it felt like it was just like a modern day Terminator. Just it had been wrecked by nuclear war, but there wasn't any future weapons in it. It was just like old like A-10 fighter planes and stuff, and like Huey helicopters and things. It's just like it didn't feel like futuristic at all. It just felt like they'd just been hit before they got to the future. So I wish we'd got a movie kind of based on that because it looked awesome, especially when like the jeeps and that are getting chased by the hunter killer drone things up in the air and stuff, and like bazookas going off everywhere. And I just wish Terminator Salvation was like that, but that's a tangent in itself.
But that's what I'm saying, though. Like that opening scene was the baseline for any other film thereafter. Do you know what I mean? I just don't get it. How they can go for that's what it's going to look like to what we got and what we were served up. But I like to say it's another podcast on its own, maybe for another future one. So, see, still want to talk about this kind of Sarah Connor bit because I did like the bit where he jumps into the lift and he opens the lift doors, and then Arnold Schwarzenegger with a shotgun and kind of blows his head off, and it kind of mangles into two. And then at this point, the guy from the first Terminator is still standing in the corridor, and I'm like, is he going to go back and kill him or not? But he didn't. He just opened the lift and then jumped in and started stabbing the lift kind of ceiling with knives. Then they get away. So I think the whole scene was good, man.
Linda Hamilton got permanent hearing damage from that scene because she forgot to put her earplugs back in between takes, and then I think maybe on the shotguns or something like that, or something like blew one of her ears out or something. So she's got permanent hearing damage from that scene.
It's a badging, isn't it?
Aye, I think you'd be able to sue if actually, would you be able to sue if it's your own fault? I don't know.
It's their own fault, mate.
Aye. But yeah, it's still good. See the handguns in this, do you think they sound funny compared to other movies?
I've noticed.
I don't know, they sound kind of, I don't know. They sound very kind of pew-pewy rather than like bang bang, if you know what I mean. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's something I've always noticed, and when I've been watching it, they don't sound like guns in other movies. Right. I don't know what guns should really sound like. Because obviously we're from Scotland.
Yes, a gun-free country. I don't know, man. I've never. I didn't think of that. Honestly, I didn't notice anything obvious anyway. But possibly you could be right. It could be different.
I don't know. It's something I've always thought. The guns in this film sound unique to other films, like handgun wise. Like shotguns, that sound like I don't know. But in this film, I just thought it sounded funny. But maybe it's just me being weird as usual.
Not at all.
So yeah, Linda Hamilton escapes. One bit I didn't like as well was like when Linda Hamilton escapes and she's talking to John, and John's like, oh, we came and saved you. And she's like, you shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't put yourself in danger. She's not really like happy to see him with it, and she's just kind of like giving him into trouble for risking his life to save her. And he's crying. It's like, oh, that's sad. Especially when this wee guy's been like kind of rebellious, wee kind of hard man, and now he's like greeting away in the back of the car.
I know, and Arnold Schwarzenegger goes like to him, "What's wrong with your eyes? Why do you cry?" I know it was sad though, that wee bit. I mean, but listen, Sarah knows he like John Connor's the saviour of the humans. Do you know what I mean? The human, but he's only doing what. I don't know. He wouldn't go that far without her. Do you know what I mean? Everything had a purpose.
Yeah.
So, like the next scene, is the next scene. They kind of regroup, replan, and they come up with these kind of tactics to get the guns in that. And in this scene, mate, this is the one I'm kind of want to speak about. I don't know if you're going to go into it next or not, so I'm sorry if I jumped the gun. Was the kind of character development of it all. There's a lot of Sarah Connor narration, and I felt this bit was quite slow for me. I understand where they had to build characters and whatever. It can't be just jam-packed full of guns and chases and all that sort of thing, but I just felt it slowed the film down quite a lot, actually. I felt there was the bit where, Arnold Schwarzenegger, the T-800 is getting, she's taking the bullets out of him, takes the chip out of him as well, and she's going to smash it. And then her and John share some dialogue about, the T-800 became a friend, and it's that kind of human element coming into him and all that sort of thing. I just thought that scene was, I don't know, too slow for me, man. So
yeah, I kind of always switch off at that bit, between that bit and when they get to Mexico. I always feel like that bit kind of drags a wee bit for me, like you were saying.
So the bit in Mexico is that bit as well. That's probably worse, actually. So I didn't like that. Very much like a pickled egg, mate. I don't like it. So I'm just going to say that's probably why the film's, one of the scenes rather, that I thought slowed the film down, and it was, and I got bored during it. But seeing I seen it again, I'm like, oh, this bit exists in the film, but it's not to be ignorant to the fact that I know why it exists. Because because John and Sid are still bonding. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. It could have been cut shorter. So,
yeah. The narration bit's kind of, I don't know. I don't really care for them as much. I feel like they're just there to fill time, and I do kind of switch off just when she's talking, like narrating wise. And then when you're saying we get to Mexico, I know where they're there to get the guns and stuff, but like I say, it just changes the pace a wee bit, and
aye.
I don't really feel like it works for the better.
No, I agree, mate. 100%.
And then is that when she sneaks off to try and assassinate Cyber Dyson?
Aye.
Assassinate yourself.
So we just to basically assassinate Miles Dyson, who's the head honcho of Cyberdyne systems. Because if he's built in, he doesn't create anything. So it's therefore stopping Judgment Day.
What's the character that plays him? Because I really like him.
He's in quite a few things too. Can't remember his name now. Miles Dyson.
Joe Morton. Aye. Because I actually think he plays the part really well, and his acting's pretty good in it. Like when he gets shot and he's like all panicky and stuff. In his house.
That's right, man.
I mean, he's dying like
that.
His wife.
Aye. Miles. Nah, it was annoying, man. So I was like, just come on. And then the bit in that bit as well, when Arnold Schwarzenegger comes in, mate, cuts his arm open, and it's like showing. It's like, and then
it's gruesome, isn't it?
I know. And you get the narration again for Sarah Connor to say that he found out he was responsible for billions of deaths. He took it pretty well. He was obviously,
I know.
So aye. What did you think of the whole kind of scene then, like Miles Dyson and going to kill him, but then basically from going to kill him to him realizing he's responsible, he wants to help out.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like if she's been training like her whole life for this, and like she was like battering folk in the mental asylum. She was going to kill the psychiatrist, possibly. I know he said she wasn't a killer, so maybe that was kind of a wee foreshadowing of her not being able to kill Dyson. But in that scene, she just seems so like rageful that I thought she was going to do it. And for someone that's been having like nightmares about the nuclear holocaust and stuff like that, I'd have thought she maybe would have done it. But maybe it was just because his family was there that she kind of snapped back out of it. I think he took it like a champ that he was like the leading cause of the world ending. I like that they didn't explain it all again. Like it was just a kind of like looking through the window and them talking at a table. It wasn't like a full blown conversation that they had to like convince them kind of thing. Because I felt like that's been done over and over through the film. So like they kind of skipped over that. The only thing for such a smart guy, it was kind of like he was going to sneak in during the night and be like, here, my friends are just come from out of town here. I'm going to show them about this secret lab. But no, I did quite like his character for the very fleeting moments that you seen him. They did, because like he was quick to volunteer the services, which you'd think somebody just learning all this kind of stuff might be a bit skeptical of it all. So I did like his character though.
You mentioned foreshadowing. I want to jump into that there as well. So, the first scene Arnold Schwarzenegger in it was his interactions in the biker bar foreshadowed the rest of the film. Because Arnold Schwarzenegger, being a Terminator, does not kill anybody in the film. Doesn't kill anyone. He never killed anyone in the biker bar, and then the bit where he goes to the two guys that come over because they think the Terminator's giving John hassle, and they come over to help him, and he's like, take a hike, bozo, and then the Terminator grabs him by the hair and then goes to kind of kill him, and John goes, no. He goes, like, you're going to kill him then? He goes, of course, I'm a Terminator. And he goes, you can't go killing people. And he goes, why? You can't. Why? Well, so even before that, he didn't kill anybody. So every scene thereafter, he always shoots them all in the leg. He always makes a wee kind of joke. Well, I say joke, because when they go to save Sarah in the hospital, he shoots the guard in the leg. And John's like, what are you doing? He was like, he will live. And then at Miles Dyson's house, all the police turn up. Isn't it? All the police turn up with that bit. And he's got the rocket launcher. And he's like, trust me. And he shoots the rocket launcher and blows everything to pieces. Then he's scanning down below, and his number of fatalities is 0. So
that's at Cyberdyne.
Cyberdyne, aye. So
I was thinking, is that an unrelated scene that the police turn up at the guy's and he shoots a rocket launcher?
It wasn't his house. I just got mixed up. It wasn't his house. It was at Cyberdyne.
Because he's got the minigun, doesn't he? And then he's got the wee grenade launcher. Aye. I was hoping they were going to make some sort of joke about Predator with the minigun, but they didn't.
Because Jesse Ventura's got a minigun.
But aye, so it's saying Cyberdyne. Again, at Cyberdyne, they're going to blow it up, get rid of all the evidence of the Terminator, because Cyberdyne have the Terminator arm from the first movie, plus like 3/4 of a microprocessor or something.
Aye.
Was salvaged, so that's where they've been kind of basing on the future takeoff of and evolving. So that's where it kind of comes back to the original Skynet. Did the original Skynet evolve from a Terminator arm from back in their timeline?
No, it's true. Aye. So I like the whole scene. To be honest,
that's probably my favourite scene, is the whole shootout with the police, because the police turn up in force and the SWAT teams are there. They break an entry. See one of the SWAT guys. Is he thingy from Breaking Bad? The baldy guy.
Hank.
I feel like one of them's Hank. I don't know if it is or not, but
I don't know.
when I heard him talk, when Miles Dyson's like, he's got after Miles is shot, he's holding the detonator over a switch. So like when he dies, he's going to drop the detonator.
Let's.
I feel like one of the cops that comes in and says to him, he's like, I don't know if I can hold this much longer. And I feel like that cop is him. I could be totally wrong and I'm just making it up, but I feel like it looked like
is, mate. It's him.
like him.
Absolutely, it's him. Aye.
I seen it last night and I was like,
I didn't even notice that.
I was like, that's Hank Schrader.
I didn't even notice that. Because I had my screen name as Hank from Breaking Bad again, because I've put it in pretty much everything he's been in.
It's a very fleeting moment, isn't it, right enough? But there's also a scene. Sorry, you.
I was just going to say, he's in Total Recall as well, with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I mind you saying that, because I told your screen name, wasn't it?
Aye.
One of my favourite scenes in this as well is when Linda Hamilton gets trapped in the clean room and Arnie like bursts through the wall, then grabs her, throws her in another room, and then immediately turns and blows a hole in the other wall with a grenade launcher. I thought it was just cool, just the way it happens. It's just like no words. It's just like boom, throw you in, boom.
Obviously, I've kind of panned the scene in Mexico on the desert, but it does play kind of important roles with character development and things. And without this section, we would never have had the bit when you get the Hasta la Vista, because that's when we start to learn that. So without that, then we wouldn't have had that section, so I suppose. So I can't totally rubbish it, but because it does lend to one of the most iconic lines, doesn't it, of the same movie history.
Aye. Chill out, dickwad.
Aye. No problemo. Aye, man.
I know. It's funny, I think when they were filming this, they thought that would be such an iconic thing. It was just like a wee throwaway, like, we'll maybe put that in the film. And then it's just, everyone uses it all the time for just daft things.
Because I suppose it would be rude not to mention the quotes from the films that are, because I've got obviously the ones "I'll be back," which Arnold Schwarzenegger says in pretty much every film.
Aye, the trademark.
Says it in Running Man as well. The end of that. Aye, because when Running Man, Killian says to him, I can't really say to him, but he goes, "Killian, I'll be back," and then Killian says to him, "Only in the rerun." So that was quite a good comeback to Arnold Schwarzenegger, but he says it in pretty much every film. So he says that, obviously, I need your clothes, your boots, your motorcycle, and a bit. Come with me if you want to live. So all those ones that most people know.
Yeah, that's one you hear all the time. Come with me if you want to leave.
Aye. I do like what's his name? Robert Patrick's, lines in the film as well. There's a bit he doesn't say anything, but there's a bit in the mall when he's chasing John at the start and he sees this mannequin.
The silver mannequin.
Silver mannequin, he just turns around to him like, "You and me."
It's like, that's hey cousin, what's happening?
And
he doesn't really say much, does he? It's when he's talking to people, it's just like he's very not conversational, but he's very natural compared to Arnie.
So I mean, he's the obvious upgrade. So I mean, so he's upgraded in pretty much everything. I like when he goes back to the copper, because obviously his car's away. He comes back for the truck, and he goes up to the police officer. "Say, that's a nice bike."
I was actually going to say that as well. I don't know why it sticks in my mind, but it does. So I was like, who speaks like that? Who starts off over and saying, "Hey, that's a nice."
Aye. So what about the scene then, mate? Come to the end. The kind of car chase thereafter, and it's kind of they're in some kind of metal molten place, isn't it? Was it?
A steel factory, because they escaped Cyberdyne. They escaped Cyberdyne in the SWAT van. Once they shot their way out, escaping a SWAT van, and then they're getting chased by the T-1000 in the helicopter because he jumps out out of Cyberdyne on a motorbike onto a helicopter.
I know. Get out.
Get out.
Although Robert Patrick doesn't speak like Arnold Schwarzenegger, but yeah, you get
No.
so he says get out, and then so so that in the steel factory, mate, and then that's obviously where he turns into he gets the liquid nitrogen, isn't it?
Aye, because the helicopter crashes into the back of the SWAT van. The SWAT van flips, and then Robert Patrick takes the lorry, the cryo lorry from somebody. The guy's like, "Hey, you okay, man?" He just stabs him, no hesitation. See for as well, see for like a machine, like future machines and that, they leave a hell of a lot of witnesses, don't they? I would have thought like if they went back in time, they'd need to keep everything kind of hush hush. But maybe not. Maybe if there's more witnesses, and maybe Skynet gets built faster.
Well, that's true, actually.
So he steals that, and then Arnie has to steal a car, but it's like a shed in the back, like it's a gardening services guy or something. And John's like, "You need to go faster." And he's like, "This is his top speed," and it's only going like 55 kilometers an hour or something like that.
I know, that's funny. The vehicle's top limit.
Yeah. So then, like you're saying, they crash into the steel factory, and that's where Robert Patrick gets freezed. Is that a word? Frozen. Freezed. English bad, no good. So he gets frozen, and then that's another really good scene where he gets frozen. He's trying to walk through the liquid nitrogen, and like his limbs are snapping off him. He's getting stuck, and I think I read somewhere that it was a combination of like amputees and a set that Robert Patrick was like his like knees were from the knee down or below the floor, so that's how he could like look as if he was like on his knees without legs, kind of thing.
All right, okay.
So it was like a kind of combination of the two, and the way it was edited made it look pretty damn decent. And then Arnie shoots him and splatters him to a million pieces, but obviously because the steel factory's been evacuated, the molten steel's spilling out everywhere and heating everything up, so it doesn't stay molten for long. But it's a cool scene where you see all the particles starting to reassemble itself, isn't it?
I know, because that's the moment we start to see that the Terminator, the T-1000, is affected by extreme temperatures. So we've seen that we've got the very cold state, and we've seen that we've got a very hot state at the very end. So mimetic polyalloy is what he's made of.
Oh.
So I think that's how you say it anyway. So because the structure of how that is, something to do with chemistry. Any chemist or whatever, you can tell us about the bonding and chemical compounds, whatever you call it.
See, when you're at school on Monday, you want to just nick to the chemistry department and see what it's
I'll go to the science department, definitely. I'll find out. What can you tell me about mimetic polyalloy? So that's the first thing you've seen. It's affected by extreme temperatures. But obviously, as he shattered it in a million pieces, you can see that the steel factory is getting hotter, and it's coming back to the normal temperature. You see the kind of bits of the metal kind of forming again, like we've seen at the start of the film. So he's not truly gone. He's coming back, and then that kind of leads to the scene. They're chasing them in the steel factory. Sarah's with John. John is trying to, can I escape them? But Arnie kind of sacrifices himself. Leads to the kind of fight between the two of them, which I found quite cool. They're throwing each other and all that sort of thing.
Because Robert T-1000, he's just kind of hiding in the smoke, isn't he? It's like because this factory is just full of smoke and fumes. Arnie can't see him with the scanners, and he just appears at the smoke and like ambushes him basically. But it's a good fight. I like how when he gets smashed against the wall with T-1000, like face first, and then he just morphs into his face switches around, kind of thing.
I know.
His whole body switches around instantly.
That was good. I like that effect.
Yeah. And this is where I suppose really you can see that is where the liquid metal comes into its own, because like a couple of times like Arnie throws punches and it goes through him and he kind of catches him with it. Like he molds around his hand and like twists him about and stuff. So that's where you can see the liquid metal coming into its own rather than just stabby weapons. He actually can use his form to manipulate in a fight.
Definitely. It was the whole scene with them two fighting. Even though we've seen it kind of prior at the start of the film, whatever, but this is more kind of, you know, like a last man standing type thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of gets to the point where, you know, Arnie's kind of trapped in a kind of some sort of winding mechanism with his arm. And then Robert Patrick, T-1000, just kind of uses some sort of battering ram and kind of rams his head, doesn't he? And then you can just see, you're looking for Arnie's point of view. You can see that, you know, the red light goes out, and that's him kind of terminated, or so we thought. And again, the T-1000 is chasing Sarah and John again up there, but this time John thinks he's escaped or something like that, and then you can hear his mum kind of shouting out, but it's not his mum. It's the T-1000. It's taking the form of Sarah Connor. I don't know if I missed anything there, mate.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so at all. Because she like hoists him up and chains or something, didn't they? Or lowers him down and chains to a different level and kind of stays behind. But
I don't know if John knew that was. Did John know that wasn't his mum? I can't remember.
I can't remember either. Because it's kind of the old thing. It's like where two of them appeared, don't they?
Aye.
And it's like I'm the real one. I'm the real one.
I know. And she's obviously with a shotgun. She shoots the T-1000. The T-1000 when you get shot with a shotgun, not that I've ever been shot with a shotgun, obviously, but you're going to be thrown back quite a considerable distance. As should the person shooting the shotgun, by the way. It's just physics. And she runs out of bullets, and he's kind of like the T-1000 is kind of hanging off the edge of below. You get the kind of molten kind of, what do you call it? We say lava, but it's not lava, but it's steel.
The foundry kind of thing.
Aye. So, and then she runs out of bullets, and at this point, as this is happening, you can see the T-800 kind of starting back up again as if he's rebooted. Mm-hmm. And then you don't really know what he chops his arm off, so he's cutting a bit with one arm, and then you don't really know where he's going thereafter. As that scene's happening, he comes up in a kind of wheel, not a wheel, like a, I don't know,
a cog.
A cog, isn't it? Aye. So, and he uses it's a grenade launcher he's got.
Aye, because he only had one left, didn't he?
Aye, and he shoots the T-1000 with it, and then explodes, and that's when he falls into the molten. And again, that shows you his structure, his metal structure, can handle the extreme temperatures. So, and that's him, as Arnold Schwarzenegger said, terminated.
Because he starts playing about, doesn't he, and like turning into all the different forms that he's taking.
Aye,
which is pretty cool. I always remember it. I remember the screeching. It was always quite memorable.
Aye, it was.
And the death screeches.
It was quite horrible, actually. So I think that scene was as good as any in the film, to be honest with you, mate. Do you know what I mean? It was intense.
Aye. Every action scene is, like you're saying, intense. Like there's not really an action scene where it doesn't hit a good note, or it's just a kind of there for the sake of being there kind of thing. I keep going back to it just because I just hate it so much. But that Rebel Moon film, that had so many pointless action scenes in it, and it's like this one, everything has a bit of weight about it. There's always something happening for the sake of happening. Like if the T-1000 shooting at the family, like the T-800 is like blocking it with his back and all that kind of stuff. There's always danger. Whereas Rebel Moon is just shite. But we'll talk about that. We've talked about that before, and let's not go back to it because I hate it.
Aye, I don't fancy revisiting that film again, mate, to be honest with you.
No.
So Arnie makes the self-sacrifice, doesn't he, after it? He knows that he's got to destroy himself in order to remove any sort of evidence of this happening. Kind of sad scene. I remember watching it when I was younger, and it was like, because it's like a kind of father figure for him, even though he's a robot. Do you know what I mean? He cared for him, and he won't have it anymore. But now his mum's back, and she's the protector. So that was a sad scene. He can't self-terminate, so he had to be lowered into the molten. And then, what did you think of that scene, mate? And the wee kind of thumbs up at the end as he in the other half.
Aye, this is one of the more iconic ones again. That's
a human element in that. Okay, all good.
Apparently, I had to add that bit in the post, not that bit, but the bit where he said he couldn't self-terminate in post, because I think originally they just had it as him silently passing the controls to Linda Hamilton, and then him just looking, and Neil was just like, "Why did he do that?" So they had to add in the thing in post about the self-terminate thing, because it was really confusing for people. He just decided to, oh, by the way, send me down. But it was quite an emotional scene, because, like you're saying, they built this bond up between John and the Terminator after the whole movie, and then they have to make him have to destroy any evidence of the machines. And that's something we're going to touch on as well, like the damage that he takes, like throughout the movie, like progressively gets worse and worse and worse. And like makeup wise, he looks tremendous. Like even like towards the end when he's lost his arm, half his face is missing, and that it just looks really good.
Oh, absolutely, mate. I think the effects of this film were outstanding, as we'll come on to, mate, because you got a factorist on the visual effects.
Yeah, did I? But I forgot to look at it again.
Did it win anything?
It did I? But I can't remember what it was.
Did it win the Oscar?
It won an Oscar, aye. For something. For 2 seconds.
Best visual effects.
Aye, that's the one. I knew you had it up there somewhere.
Aye,
it was on a different tab, I just had a wee freak out when my laptop froze earlier.
So I won an Oscar for best visual effects. I also won the Oscar for best sound editing as well. Which sound was good and all through the film. It was nominated for best cinematography, best film editing, best makeup. So it just shows you how good it was in terms of overall kind of good filmmaking, to be honest with you, mate.
Yeah. And when's the last time you seen a sci-fi action movie get accolades for such things? Like sometimes you get like Star Wars for like maybe best sound or something like that kind of thing, or sometimes digital effects. But to be nominated for all these different things, is kind of unheard of. I don't know if Dune 2. Dune. That's what's the script getting in my
head. Good pals at what's the script.
Aye. Who Craig was on, or Seismic Soccer number 5, if you want to listen to it. Dune 2, I think that's going to do well at the Oscars possibly. I've not seen it, but I've heard that it's meant to be good visually wise, so it might do well in the visual categories.
Right. I've not seen Dune 1 yet. I've seen the original Dune.
I've never seen it, the original Dune. I've seen the new Dune, but I don't know. I wasn't a fan of it, but it's maybe because I don't know the story that well. It's felt quite slow to me, but
I've seen the original Dune 8 years ago because I like David Lynch as a director and filmmaker, and Kyle MacLachlan as well. He's in it. So they did
Captain Picard.
Sorry,
Captain Picard.
Hi, that's right.
I've just seen pictures of him in it. I was like, "Oh, James will like that."
This the start. I'm actually watching Star Trek Enterprise again.
Is that the prequel one?
Eh?
Is that the prequel one? The one with when it first starts out? No.
I think that's Picard.
I don't know. Next Generation was my bag.
No, I'm talking. I don't know why I said Enterprise. I meant Next Generation.
All right. Okay. So is Enterprise the first one, the prequel one?
I know.
Mate, I'm more of a
You know what
Trekkie
I'm
than
saying?
you, and I
Edit
don't
that
even
out.
watch Star Trek.
The Next Generation, that's what I meant, man. I don't want to say the Enterprise.
Mate, it's a Saturday morning, don't worry about it. We're all like you, it's still not working out, you know what I mean?
That's it, aye.
But you've been out Trekkie by a Star Wars fan, so I mean, don't let it get to your head. So we said earlier on, what is it? You thought that Robert Patrick was your favourite character. Is that still the case? Aye.
Aye. I just think he's acting in it in the way his persistence that seemed to get John, and I don't know, man. There's something about Robert Patrick that was just a lot better than anybody else in the film, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's quite weird too because he's not really like intimidating physically because he's quite a skinny, lean guy. He's not physically imposing.
I
So it
think his
doesn't come across as a typical
mannerisms,
bad
though.
guy. Yeah, exactly.
Mannerisms, I think it was more kind of intimidating. And his stare, like you had mentioned
Mhm.
before. And whenever you say Robert Patrick, what's the first thing you think of? For me, it's always Terminator 2. Even when he's in Die Hard 2 as well, I was like, that's the guy for Terminator. You know what I mean? So,
Right, and confession time. See, when you seen this movie, did you ever try to run like Robert Patrick when you're younger?
aye. I always came first in my races as well.
I tried, I didn't. But I forgot to breathe out my nose as well, so I just kind of collapsed.
Oh, so I think I said at the start of this film, the podcast rather, that this was my best sequel of all time. It's still up there, one of my best, but something overtook it more recently. And I don't know what your favourite sequel of all time is, Paul, but mine, without a shadow of a doubt, is the Batman, The Dark Knight.
Oh, interesting. You know, to be fair, like The Dark Knight is fantastic. Batman Begins is good as well. I actually did
sequels.
I did what?
I've been in terms of sequels, though.
Yeah.
You know, you would probably go with Empire Strikes Back, though, wouldn't you?
No, I was going to say, see, just because I've seen it quite recently, I'd maybe say Top Gun Maverick.
Aye.
Because I watched that and I was like, oh, this is really good. Like, quite a simple story, but like visually, it was really good. I think just recent kind of bias, maybe. I mean, it's probably not my most. It's not probably the best sequel of all time. Like, according to me, I probably need to think about it a bit more. But just in recent times, I really enjoyed it. You know, I actually did this. I did a episode with Tallboy Radio on sequels, like a whole episode on sequels, and I can't remember what I said because we all talked about loads of different ones. A couple of Rockies are good, like Rocky 4 and Rocky 3. I enjoyed them more than Rocky 1 and 2.
Aye, same with me, mate. I'm the same.
Mm-hmm. But this is definitely up there with the top sequels because when I think of Terminator, I always think of this movie. I don't think of the original Terminator.
No.
It's maybe just because this is the one like we were brought up with. This is always the kind of quintessential one. God, I'm just taking everything from this. It's the quintessential. I don't think I've ever used that word in real life until now. And like you're saying, it does get progressively kind of worse. I feel like they always just try and make it bigger and badder on Terminator from now on, and it just doesn't work. Like Terminator 3 was okay, but they try to switch up by having a female Terminator. And Skynet was just happening again anyway. I like Salvation, but like we said earlier, I just wish it had been more futuristic.
Salvation was the one where did they not CGI Arnold Schwarzenegger into it as well?
Aye, that's right.
Aye, that was awful, man.
Yeah. It had Anton Yelchin as well, didn't it, before he passed away?
Aye.
And I've actually seen Dark Fate. Have you seen? Do you know who the lassie is? It's in it. Like the main, the kind of the hero. It's Linda Hamilton's in it. There's a bad Terminator, but there's a kind of enhanced human that goes back in time to help her. Do you know who she is?
I don't think I've seen it, no.
So you remember the wee skinny lassie from San Junipero, the wee specky one? She's an absolute monster now. She's a tank.
Is she?
Aye, she's the kind of hero in Dark Fate.
All right.
And
Is
she
it worth
is like,
watching? Is it worth watching?
see if you don't think about it too much and like you're not like comparing it to any other Terminator, just watch it as a standalone action film. It's actually okay. Like the action's decent in it. There's just a few bits where it's just like it doesn't really make sense. Couple of cameos here and there. It's okay. Like it's not. I would say it's maybe better than 3 and 4 Genesis. I didn't like Genesis.
Genesis
it's probably better than that. But like I said, it's not great, but it's worth it just to watch it for some of the action scenes. Story wise, it doesn't really make sense, and the characters are very questionable as well. Like I was saying, the heroine woman, like she come back to help you on, but is it John? It's not even John. I can't remember who it is. And she's like super enhanced. So like she's like battering people and like just normal humans, and she's like pretty much murdering them. And it's like you're meant to be the hero. It's just like really weird. But the action scenes are good, so I'd watch it for the action scenes.
I'll give it a bash. I'll get a watch, mate. I think
it's on Disney Plus.
Right, okay.
Possibly. Mate. It's on something. So I watched it on something recently. But,
you want to go ahead and give stars then, Seismic Stars?
Right. I'm going to give it 8.5. It's still amazing, still looks really good. Just loses points just because the whole timeline thing's a bit murky for me now. I always start thinking about that and it kind of clouds my enjoyment of the film. But like visually wise, story wise, acting wise, actually I'm going to get a 9. 9 out of 10 for me.
Aye. I'm the same, mate. 9 out of 10. It's like I say, the action is amazing in it. Don't think it's just if Colin was here, he'd be asking where did that point go? Well, the point I mentioned, the bit in the desert, and they go to the kind of. I just think that's a bit slow for me. Could have been sped up a bit.
The change of pace in the narration for me just kind of bring it down.
So it could have been dealt a wee bit better, I think. But overall, mate, it's a spectacular film. Do you know what I mean? I think if you've not seen this film, then go and watch it. Go and watch Terminator 1 first, then Terminator 2, and then stop there. Or just go and watch Dark Fate. You know what I mean? So, what a film, mate.
Aye, 100%. 9 out of 10s for both of us. I wonder what Colin would have gave it. I wonder what Colin will give it in the future when he finally watches it. As per usual, Colin has not watched Terminator 2.
I don't understand that.
I don't know. I think it's just not his kind of movie. Like growing up, he would never have watched. He was never really into big action films.
You mentioned at the start we should do an Army Month. Absolutely should, man. Because I remember, I think I've said this before. When I was younger, I used to go into town, and I used to go into HMV. There are other DVD film retailers out there, folks. And I just to buy Arnold Schwarzenegger films every week, man, and get a DVD. So my collection was like Commando, it was Terminator, all the Terminators. There was the Total Recall, just every one of them. Running Man. You know, Conan.
And even the kind of later ones, like the Sixth Day, and that was pretty decent.
Eraser was good as well, mate. I liked Eraser. That was a good film.
Eraser is good, yes. With the crocodile and that.
End of Days.
We'll get back to it.
End of Days is a good film. Yeah.
End of Days is good. I keep trying to get Scarlett to watch it, but she's not having it for some reason.
Right, okay, man. So, do I give a wee shout out about Twitter and all that sort of thing, mate, as well? Do you want me to do it?
Oh, actually, I totally forgot to do that at the very start, didn't I? So, you can find us on Twitter/X, whatever we call it nowadays. X, Facebook, Instagram. We've got a link tree for all that. Threads. And you can also watch us if you're watching us on YouTube. Fantastic. Click that subscribe button. If you're listening on Spotify, easy we follow. and you can just find us anywhere and you can listen to podcasts. And yeah, we are also part of the PodPack Collective. Thank you, James, for putting these stickers to remind me what I meant to say, because I keep forgetting. So we're also part of the PodPack Collective. There's just a wee network of pods, try to be positive in the podcast community. And yeah, you can go on our link tree or go on chatsanime.com and see all the different pods that are there, or just look for it on Twitter. And yeah, so we've been Seismic Cinema. This has been Terminator 2 Judgment Day. And we are out. Thanks for watching.
Bye.